Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless Lights coming at you today with a Nitecore innovation. This here, the EX7. At the time of this video, not only the newest light, but the newest innovation in the Nitecore lineup, most specifically being their new LED technology. So deep inside here, you are actually looking at essentially 20 different little LEDs. And this is what Nitecore is calling their M515S array LED. Each one of these, and you'll see there's kind of four main reflectors here. Each one of the reflectors having one of the M515S array LEDs. And that one LED is made up of 5 different little cores inside. And that is going to give this flashlight a huge advantage for the ability to change the beam pattern, but more than anything else, put out very high quality lumen output. And on top of that, reducing battery draw, which I am hoping at the end of all of this translates to less heat, longer run times, increased performance, and more than anything, the ability for those higher lumen output modes to actually sustain a longer period of life than we've seen on previous models with high output. Now, 6,000 total maximum lumens here, and you'll notice one thing right away, which I'm hoping is going to be a positive for this. There is no little screen that tells us how much runtime we get. There's no little screen that times out when this gets too hot. All I see here is a battery indicator with 4 lights and the output with 4 lights. Other than that, I see nothing, which tells me I am hoping this will run much, much longer than some of the previous models we've seen in the recent Nitecore history. But we are going to figure all of this out together. And the first thing, which answering some of the calls from the fans out there who want to see a removable battery, well, right away, this is definitely a positive for all of you. This here, the NL2155 HP, 5500 milliamp hours, 20 amp battery, a very nice Nitecore battery, a 21700, 3.6 volts, translating to 19.8 watt hours of power. That's a good deal. So for all of you that did not like the fact that Nitecore has been introducing all of those integral batteries, well, right away, this should be a good positive for you. Now, as we go through this, you'll see simple single press. That turns the light on and off. So that simple single press or goes through the different modes. A single press, and that turns the light on. If you wait long enough, it will turn it off. So again, turn the light on, wait, single press off. Or if you click through quickly, so turn the light on and now press between the modes, you'll see it will go low, medium, high, turbo, long press to that moonlight. Again, single press, low, medium, high, turbo, back to off. However, if the light is on, quick double press, that's going to be the lumen shield mode. So pretty simple in terms of the general operation. But before I can give you the output, the runtime, and the Candela, well, you need to see how this operates in its alternate modes. So let's just turn the light on here. I'm going to show this basically in the low mode. Now, if I long press, you can see it is going to change the beam pattern. So you can go from full flood, spotlight, and mixed light, which is a combination of flood and spot. And what it's doing is it's literally changing inside each one of the individual LEDs between those 5 different little cells. And as I long press here, the spotlight is only the middle cell. And so as I set the camera on the spotlight, you can see that's the single cell on each one of those LEDs. Now a long press. This is the 4 around the outside, but it's actually not including the middle. And that's going to be your flood, so the widest beam pattern. And then another long press. Well, that brings back the 5th one in the middle, and that's going to be your combination flood and spotlight all together. Another long press, and we're back to just that central little cell there. So all in all, really, really cool. And so if you think about it, that is going to impact your runtime, because right now I'm only driving literally the very middle part of that LED while I'm in the spotlight mode. And the way the reflector is gives you good Candela punch. So the spotlight is going to give you excellent runtime, 2 hours and 15 minutes. This is 3,000 lumens of output. This has a 500 meter throw, translating to 63,470 Candela. And that's when I double press here and I get into that search mode, so you can see that full output there. Again, 63,470 Candela, 3,000 total lumens. But now a long press, and you can see that changes the beam pattern. In the flood mode, maximum output, 1,500 lumens, 2 hours and 30 minutes of runtime, 200 meters of throw, 10,200 Candela. And so if I double press real quick, that's what that's going to do. And so if I long press, that is going to be ultra low 1 lumen, and I believe, let's see here, that is all 5 cores. There is technically no way to change that. So again, in the ultra low mode, you're going to see all 5 cores, and even if I long press, it doesn't change anything about it. But a quick double press, boom, blasting. And with the light on, quick triple press, that's going to be the strobe. Strobe here, full output, 3,500 lumens. Now in theory, you can lock this out. So in other words, hold down this button, goes to ultra low, continue holding, and it will now flash. And that is showing you that this is technically locked out. To unlock, short press and then long press and hold, and then the light will come on and you're back in operational. So there you go, single press between the modes. This EX7 is totally sweet. So with that, let's get outside for some real beam shots. So now, as we get outside, kicking on the light, single press here, and you can see already that this is going to be a fairly cool light, all things considered, in terms of the color temperature. Single press working between each one of these modes. And again, if I turn the light on and wait 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, press it again, that turns the light off, or turning the light on and now simply clicking between the modes. Now right away in the low mode, more than enough light to do what I need to do. This is the standard low mode, but if I hold down, you can see spot, combo, and that nice wide floodlight. Now, a little more beam here. That's going to help you really start to see this. So again, long press, spot, combo, which you can see has both that hot spot and the flood, or long press, and that really evens out the light. Now that I'm navigating with the flood, real simple, easy to get around. If I need a little more light, the only issue is single press is going to turn it off, and I now need to click 3 times to get me, up to that more like the high mode. So now that I'm in the high mode, starting to beam off in the distance. Now again, as I turn on the light, you can see just a little bit to the right hand side. Actually, I'll come right to the right hand side, little bridge abutment here. That is going to be about
15 feet away. The only problem, again, if I single press, it's going to turn the light off. But a long press, we're going to show you those different modes. So right away, you can see now that spotlight does start to light up the bridge abutment just a little bit in this low mode. Another long press here. That's going to be that sort of combination of spot and flood. Again, you can still see a little light beaming off the bridge abutment straight ahead. Another long press, and that's really going to even out the light. That's the flood. Now at this point, single press, turn the light off, press, that's going to be the medium mode. So now in the medium mode, long press, that is your spot. The spotlight able to go off into the distance. That will now reach the far shoreline, the far abutment, coming up into the foreground. That again, right beside me here, about 15 feet away. Another long press. This is that combo mode. So again, the combo mode with a decent throw, but also flood off to the side. You can see to the right hand side, not only do I get that throw across the shoreline, but the combo, getting the side of the bridge and lighting everything up. Another long press. That's going to even out that light. That's that overall floodlight here. But again now, single press off, turn the light on, 2, 3. So that went low, medium, high. I'm now in the high mode. Long press, this is going to be that spotlight, doing a nice job to light everything up. Great mirror image here, up along the bridge. Long press, that's that combo, hot spot in the middle, flood off to the sides. Still able to reach over to the trees. Long press, softening everything out to that floodlight, and that's just evening out the pattern overall. Again, single press off. Low, medium, high, turbo. Turbo mode here, long press. This is that spotlight. Great beam pattern, beautiful light. Very good amount of light overall, capability of seeing everything in this entire scene, literally lighting everything up. Very nice cone of light. As you take a look at the cone coming off of the flashlight itself, you can see good amount of light. Long press here, that's going to be that combo mode. So the combo here, again, good amount of light. Long press, softening out that beam, that's going to be your floodlight. Now again, single press off, coming back in the low. I'm going to double press. So really what they're calling lumen shield. And that lumen shield can either be tight or broad. So tightening that up, lumen shield there, nice, bright, tight beam, super impressive. That wider beam, great spotlight, very bright, very wide. The ability to just light up the entire scene. Now I'm starting to get a good amount of heat. I can feel the flashlight heating up. It really is utilizing this to its fullest potential. But again, two really impressive modes. Turning the light off and back on, triple press. That is going to be the strobe. Single press off. Now the only last mode worth mentioning, holding the light down while it's off, long press, that is that ultra low mode, 1 lumen, perfect for up close. And again, if I long press, it does not change the beam pattern at all, but very cool. And now I can single press between those modes or double press to get into that super high or lumen shield mode. Now again, the nice thing, as I'm navigating around, I can long press and change up that beam pattern, whether I want the flood or that kind of hybrid mode. I can go to spot. So if I was walking along here and kind of wanted to see what was going off in the distance, I would long press, and that would put it into the spot. Double press, boom, light everything up. Really beam off into the distance. My ability to look around. Long press here, tighten up that beam. That super high output, that lumen shield mode. Again, that's a good wall of light. Long press, widening that out. That's a nice wall of light. Good amount there. Long press, tighten down that cone. See up into the trees, no problem. Long press, wide wall of light. Great beam overall. Changing up the scene just for a minute. So as I single press to turn the light on, low, long press. This is going to change between the different modes. So now we're really starting to see, and I think this will differentiate it a little better. If I single press, I'm just going to go low, medium, high. Now in the high mode, if I long press, you can see this first mode here. This is the spotlight. Long press, hybrid, long press, softening everything out. It kind of really does take the light out of the middle of the scene. So again, long press, spot is almost the entire middle of the scene. Long press, hybrid, that kind of gives you some of that spotlight off in the distance and the foreground. Long press, flood, really just takes the light out of the middle of the scene. Again, double press, that's going to be that incredible cone, nice wide beam. Long press, tightening that up, super impressive. That Lumen shield mode, you can see just a crazy wall of light. This is super impressive. Low. Spot. Combo. Flood. Low, medium. Spotlight. Combo. Flood. Low, medium, high.
And so now back from the field use testing. All in all, definitely a fantastic light. Now, I am going to be hypercritical, as I feel like I should be and need to be. I've been testing Nitecore products for a long time. I've been, kind of living and breathing their innovations. I've been, seeing them at shows. I've been carrying their products in my pocket for a long time, and I am going to be hypercritical. And I'm also going to say they could easily be hypercritical of me, all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. It's easy to say when you're on the outside looking in. It's easy for me to say as somebody on the outside looking in with my experience and what I like in a light. It's different than everybody else. So of course I have my own sort of bias and my own opinions. But what I don't like and really don't like about this light, which is misfortunate, is the fact that when you don't want the light to turn off, you have to turn the light off. So in other words, to get between those modes, that's cool. But if I want to go, to a different mode and I wait too long, well, now all of a sudden I have to turn my light off at maybe a critical time when you really don't want your light to turn off. So to me, the fact that, wait 3 seconds, well, yeah, fine. Now my light's off. That leaves me a little disappointed with a light that otherwise has so much going for it. And I think it was just a little bit of an oversight where, they've been introducing the manual lockout now on so many other great models that this could have easily had another switch or lockout mechanism that would literally be what turns the light off, and that would have allowed this literally to just cycle between the modes. And then even if you waited 3 seconds, well, at that point it would have allowed me the ability to go back down to the low mode, or if I was in medium, wait a few seconds and not a big deal. Now I could click up to high, but no. Instead, unfortunately, the light turns off. Now, of course, you could introduce that tail switch, but this has a nice oversized magnetic tail cap capable of standing the light, capable of attaching to whatever, pretty much anything. And, well, that would have not allowed that with the tail switch. So to me, the perfect opportunity was to go to what they've already developed in that mechanical lockout switch, like you've seen on some of the EDC lineup. Literally incorporate this into the design to be what actually turns the light ultimately on and off. And that would allow this button to easily cycle between the modes and do all the hard work. And then when you're done, just flip it off. And when you want it back on, flip it on. I mean, to me, that's the way this light should have been. But again, I will go as far as to say it's really easy being on the outside looking in. Other than that, fantastic, nice clip, great form factor, awesome battery, decent run times, awesome magnetic tail cap, everything else going for this. So if you don't mind the fact that the light literally turns itself off when you go to change modes, like every time, it's a great light. Otherwise, in my opinion, it's just a little bit limited. But all in all, I am extremely excited to see the innovation, extremely excited to see where they go with this new LED technology, because in my opinion, it is pretty much perfect from the standpoint that you get awesome runtime, great beam patterns, the ability now to change that beam pattern easily and effectively. And I think as they continue to work through this, they will refine each one of the reflectors to give you that sort of more appropriate beam pattern. It is damn good now. It's going to be incredible in about a year's time as they've learned to completely master this. So all in all, very cool. The EX7, thank you to the people at Nitecore who did provide this for review. Look in the description box below where you can find all of your own Nitecore products. And if you like this content, do me a favor, check out my Outer Limitless family of channels. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.